Now, more than 70,000 people have signed a petition calling on the government to take urgent action on press regulation. Support for the hacked-off petition has soared in the last 24 hours after Lord Leveson's inquiry into phone hacking called for a new press watchdog to be enshrined in law. David Cameron is under pressure to drop his opposition to new legislation as some high-profile victims of press intrusion said they felt betrayed. And with me now is the Director of Liberty, Shami Chakrabarti, who was a member of the inquiry panel that advised Lord Justice Leveson. Shami Chakrabarti, where do you agree with the Prime Minister's reservations about what Lord Justice Leveson proposed?
Well, firstly, I think almost everybody agrees with what independent self-regulation should look like, with what this body should look like, and everybody agrees, including the judge, that you don't need a statute to set it up.
But where do you agree with the Prime Minister's reservations?
Well, the reservation is about what you would do with people who didn't join the club, or what you would do if the press didn't create one. And there, you know, the judge says he doesn't recommend this, but politicians might have to consider compulsory legislation to force people into ethical regulation. I couldn't support that. I'm glad that the Prime Minister couldn't, but the Prime Minister should be less concerned about the possibility of a law that nudges people to join the club, giving them protections, giving them some reductions in terms of costs or damages in court.
But you also don't want a government-appointed body, namely Ofcom, which regulates the broadcasting industry, to oversee the new press watchdog, do you?
I personally don't think that's necessary or desirable. I would like to keep government appointees away from the self-regulation. The courts can ultimately supervise this body. That, I think, is the right balance in a free society.
Did you have a bit of a Barney with Lord Justice Leveson behind closed doors?
I would never discuss the private deliberations of the panel, safe to say, and this is a breach of confidence. It was a real privilege to work with him and his team.
But it's fair to say, though, that you might not need legislation, in your view, as David Cameron believes.
I think it's possible that you could encourage and nudge and protect the press with things like rules of court or judicial discretion. You want the press to get benefits for joining this club, I think. I think editors and proprietors would want to see some recognition of the way that they've acted. But if it's not possible to do it without legislation, I could support a statute that rewarded people for joining this club. What I could never support, what Liberty could never support, is a statute that forces people into ethical regulation of a free press.
Shami Chakrabarti, thank you very much for joining us. After the break, the best of today's sport, including the latest on the rugby internationals.